Hi guys! In this video, we'll be discussing case 2 of the regional case set, titled TikTok Infamous. I'm sure that most, if not all of you guys are familiar with TikTok, but simply put, TikTok is a video sharing social media platform that was launched in China in late 2016. Then, in 2017, its parent company ByteDance launched an international version of the TikTok app, which is the version of the app that we are most familiar with. Now, if you guys have been paying attention to recent news, you probably have heard that the Trump administration issued an executive order that would essentially ban and prevent people from downloading TikTok, as well as a Chinese-based messaging app called WeChat, beginning on September 20th. The case mentions that some of the reasons for the ban include political and economical factors, along with data privacy concerns. However, on September 27th, a federal judge issued an injunction that temporarily blocked the ban. So clearly, this case is an ongoing case that will probably be evolving and updating throughout the year, which makes it super interesting. And this is also where it becomes important to pay attention to the news and develop at least a general understanding of how the situation is evolving instead of simply relying on the case for all of your background information. Another aspect that is unique to this case is that it involves a lot of politics and laws. And the interesting thing is, although you are allowed to reference different laws and policies in your speeches, there is a difference between ethics and law or politics. So please make sure that you still tie your ideas into a broader ethical framework, whether that be utilitarianism, deontology, or another idea that you think fits the case best. And with that being said, let's get into the case questions.
The first question asks, should the government have control over what apps we use? And in addition, what if users don't mind corporations having access to their data? This is more of an intentions question than looking from a consequentialist perspective. It is asking for the moral righteousness behind the motive, which is the government's ability to ban apps. There are several factors that can play a part in your stance. First, considering the beneficial effects, if the government does ban foreign apps, there would be certain things that can be better protected. For example, the massive accumulation of data collected by a foreign source, such as TikTok, can be used to analyze the American demographic. For example, our interests, trends, views on the presidential election. Although these may not seem important, they might lead to important things. For example, analyzing the fashion trend can propel the competitiveness of Chinese brands in America. By banning TikTok then, America could better protect its own industries and economy. However, there are certain elements going into the government's decision of banning apps, which many are unsure about. First, if you want to better protect the people in the US for their personal privacy, why not start from apps that collect way more personal information, like credit card information or exact location? And what about the apps that collect the same amount of information as TikTok? Wouldn't it also threaten personal privacy? And second, a question of censorship and encroachment plays along. As we all know, TikTok sometimes is used to spread information on the upcoming elections. In the past, teens have used it as a platform to spread their opinion, which may be argued as a hidden motive in which the government decided to ban TikTok. No matter what, by banning TikTok, it is eliminating a platform to connect and to share. And again, just a reminder that these videos are not intended to lead you to a specific direction, but rather to encourage you to dive deeper in. Transitioning from the last question, the second one asks, to what extent do national security considerations outweigh personal liberties? As we touched on earlier, this whole case is about the balance between personal liberties and national security, and this question moves from analyzing the act of banning TikTok to a broader view. A possible argument may be that personal liberties are more important until national security is threatened, which affects individual people and puts them in danger. Or the other way around, that national security is more important until personal liberties are notably encroached. Of course, this has to do with time, place, and context. For example, during a national crisis, it is consensus that in order to better protect each individual, the government has to take away some liberties, well, including putting on a mask. However, something like putting on a mask is more current and urgent than banning TikTok, which is only a potential harm in the future that many may not see. So, the length of time and the urgency of restricting or banning something could be a part of your answer.
The third case question is, does this mean we can't or shouldn't use apps, software, or other products from countries with which conflicts might exist or arise? The way the question is worded is pretty interesting, because the question asks whether we should use products developed by countries with which conflicts may arise. And this is especially interesting because it can refer to countries that we currently have good relations with, but we don't know if those good relations might sour and turn into conflicts, and so there's this new element of unpredictability. Now, when you guys hear the phrase element of unpredictability, I'm hoping that your mind jumps to something we went over in last week's video. Remember, although utilitarianism is usually a realistic and practical ethical framework compared to deontology, there are scenarios where an action's consequences are so wildly unpredictable that it doesn't make sense to use utilitarianism. This is one of those situations. We can't accurately predict which countries our relationships will go south with, and we can't possibly predict all the implications and threats of using foreign products. So with that being said, let's take a look at this case from a deontological standpoint. As Mohan mentioned earlier, the intent of a TikTok ban would be to protect people's data privacy and settle political and economical issues with foreign countries. However, this leads to a slippery slope. TikTok is one of many products that are based in China. Others include the messaging app WeChat, the tech group Alibaba, and the game League of Legends, among many others. If we decided that we shouldn't use TikTok because its parent company is based in China, then we would be on a slippery slope because there are a ton of other apps that are based in China, some of which also have very practical uses. For example, WeChat is regularly used by Chinese Americans in the States to communicate with relatives in China. Besides, how ethical would it be to neglect individual liberties and simply go ahead with raising a firewall? Finally, another idea I want to leave you guys with is about alternative solutions we could explore instead of simply banning potentially dangerous apps. Although information technology is usually seen as the cause of these types of privacy problems, there are also several ways in which we can use it to help us solve problems. These include using design methods that can achieve system-wide privacy, privacy-enhancing technology, cryptology, and identity management. And with all of that being said, do you think it's possible to find a compromise between doing nothing at all and banning all products from countries with which we have the potential to enter conflicts with? Well, that's the end of our video for Case 2. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.